I never thought a simple friendship could destroy everything I had built. I had been married to Emily for 10 years, a decade of shared mornings, late-night talks, and quiet routines that made our life feel steady, predictable, safe. I trusted her. I believed in her. But apparently, trust isn't always enough. It started with a casual conversation one evening. She came home, looking unusually flustered, and I noticed a new tension in her voice. I don't know, she said, pacing the kitchen. Maybe we should try something different. I read something today, and it really made me think. At first, I didn't understand. Try what, Emily? I asked cautiously. Her eyes flicked away, and then, with a hesitation I had never seen before, she said, It's just maybe seeing someone else once could make things exciting again. My friend said it could help us reconnect. I froze. The words hit like a punch I hadn't been bracing for. Betrayal, wrapped in casual advice, with a smiling friend as the accomplice. I wanted to ask how she could even consider it after 10 years, after everything. But she continued, oblivious of the storm she had unleashed. I don't know why I'm saying this, she whispered, almost pleading with herself. But it made sense. Just for a night. Nothing serious. Nothing serious. Those words echoed in my head, twisting in ways I couldn't ignore. 10 years. 10 years of loyalty, love, and commitment, reduced to an experiment suggested by someone outside our marriage. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just walked out. I went for a drive, trying to think, trying to breathe, trying to remember who I was before the shock shattered my world. The city lights blurred past me, reflecting the chaos inside. Days passed, and Emily acted as if nothing had changed. She spoke softly, casually, about normal life, while I knew the truth she hadn't yet admitted. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I watched, waited, and prepared myself for whatever revelation was coming next. And then came the news. A week after that fateful night, Emily revealed in the quietest moment, just the two of us in the living room. Her hand trembled as she spoke. I'm pregnant, she said, eyes wide, voice wavering between fear and anticipation. Time froze. My heart pounded. I wanted to ask whose child, how it happened, why she didn't tell me sooner. But I didn't. Instead, I sat there, absorbing the weight of 10 years of marriage, a single friend's influence, and now, a life that would forever change everything. The days that followed were tense, quiet, and unbearable. Emily tried to act normal, as if the pregnancy could somehow erase what had happened. I saw the fear in her eyes. The fear of losing me, of losing the life we had built, of facing the consequences of a single night that had spiraled out of control. I didn't speak much. Words seemed inadequate for the storm inside me. Betrayal isn't easy to explain. It doesn't fit neatly into arguments or apologies. And this betrayal, fueled by someone else's advice, felt even worse. She hadn't even made the choice fully on her own. She had let a friend steer her into something that destroyed our trust. I focused instead on myself. I walked long streets at night, replaying every moment of our 10 years together, every sign I had missed, every hint I had ignored. I thought about love, loyalty, and the fragile nature of trust. I realized that no amount of pleading or reasoning could undo what had happened. Emily tried to approach me, standing in the doorway, her hand on her stomach, her eyes begging. I didn't mean for it to happen this way, she said softly. I held up my hand. Emily, I interrupted, my voice steady. I need time to understand who we are, what we've lost, and what comes next. Not just for us, but for me too. She nodded, swallowing hard, knowing the conversation was over for now. The tension between us was like a silent wall, separating us more than years of familiarity ever could. In those weeks, I started to notice small shifts in myself. Anger turned to clarity. Pain turned to resolve. I understood that this wasn't just about betrayal. It was about survival, about reclaiming a life that had been disrupted. I needed to regain control, not only for myself, but for the life that was growing inside her. One evening, at a friend's gathering, I ran into Emily again. She looked at me, trying to gauge my reaction, testing the waters. I was calm, composed, distant. The man standing there was no longer naive, no longer blindly trusting. He had been hurt, yes, but he had also grown stronger, more aware, unafraid to confront the consequences of someone else's actions. Her friend's influence, the advice that led to betrayal, had no power here. I understood now that strength wasn't in punishing her or acting vengeful. It was in standing firm, in reclaiming my dignity, and in showing, silently, the man I had become. Emily looked down at her stomach, then back at me, realizing that life had a way of balancing itself. She had played a dangerous game, guided by someone else's counsel, and now she had to face the reality she had created. Weeks passed, and the tension between us remained, unspoken but palpable. Emily had her growing belly, a constant reminder of a night that had changed everything. Yet, she also had my silence, my absence, and my calm, unshakable presence, a presence that reminded her daily that she couldn't control the outcome anymore. I focused on my life. Work, friends, fitness, and rebuilding myself became my refuge. I realized that power isn't about revenge. It's about taking control of your own life when someone else tries to dictate it. I reclaimed small freedoms first. My mornings, my evenings, my weekends. I nurtured my own growth while observing how she struggled to navigate the consequences of her choices. Then came the day when everything crystallized. Emily approached me at home, carefully, slowly, as if each step she took might fracture the fragile ground beneath her. "We need to talk," she said, voice trembling, eyes wide. "About everything." I nodded, quietly listening as she confessed how her friend's advice had driven her to that night, how she regretted it, and how scared she was about what our future would look like. But I didn't respond with anger or recrimination. Instead, I let her speak, letting the weight of her own guilt settle on her. Finally, she paused, searching for words, and I spoke, calm and unwavering. "Emily, what happened cannot be undone, but we can decide how to move forward. Not for your mistakes, not for my hurt, but for the life that's now a part of this. That's what matters." Her tears fell silently, her regrets unspoken, her realization complete. She finally understood that life doesn't bend for someone else's mistakes. Choices have consequences, and influence from friends, advice, or fleeting impulses could not erase the truth. I had grown stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Over the next few months, we navigated the pregnancy with careful distance, boundaries in place, but respect maintained. Emily learned painfully that a friend's advice does not outweigh years of trust. And I learned irrevocably that betrayal doesn't define your life. Your response does. When the baby was born, I didn't revel in vengeance. I didn't seek to punish. I simply observed the life I had nurtured, the man I had become, and the clarity that came from surviving betrayal, guided by patience, self-respect, and growth. Emily could see it too, the man she had underestimated, who had risen above her mistakes and the interference of others. That night, as I held the newborn in my arms, I understood fully that true strength lies not in control over others, but mastery over yourself. And for the first time since that fateful night, I felt peace. The betrayal had ended, the lesson was learned, and life moved forward, not for revenge, but for resilience.